So am I audible now? Is it audible now to everyone? अभी on किया है एक बार. Is it audible now, please? So please let me know if it is audible. Give a thumbs up so that I can get to know the voice is audible now. Thumbs up, please give a thumbs up so that we can continue. Alright, so let me take you through. Supreme Court has set a time frame for the President to decide on the veto of the bills, on the bills that have been reserved by the President for the Governor for his consideration. As the veto power of the Governor has been qualified a few days back, now the veto power of the President with regard to Article 201, with regard to the Governors, with regard to the bills reserved by the Governor for the President's consideration, that stands also qualified now. That means the President has to decide upon these bills within 3 months. At this news clipping, when we will be discussing this in detail, we will be noting certain important jargon, the lexicon, the vocabulary, the glossary that has been used by the Supreme Court in its judgment. And I'll tell you, we'll do a bit of analysis also as to why this kind of problem is happening. Then tariff war goes on. China in retaliation levies 125% taxes on goods emanating from US. This seems to be insane, isn't it? 125%, 125% extra. We are also going to talk about Panchayat Advancement Index. We have in the past, guys, we have talked about Panchayat Devolution Index. We have talked about funds, functions and functionaries debate. But today we are going to talk about Panchayat Advancement Index. I will also be adding some concept from public administration, global local debate with regard to this Panchayat article. Then EVMs. EVMs have been accused of, some allegations have been levied by the US ex-congresswomen that EVMs are not tamper-proof. They can be hacked. So in response to that, the Election Commission of India has responded that we have already answered about microcontroller, the technical terminology with regard to this thing, okay, with regard to EVMs. We are going to discuss this also, how the new Panchayat Advancement Index ranks local bodies. So we are going to discuss this. This is connected to Sustainable Development Goals. So let's get started for the news analysis today. First thing first, Supreme Court now sets a time limit on the power of the President to decide upon the referred bills. Under Article 201, we all know that the Governor can reserve under Article 201, Governor can reserve the bill for the consideration of the President, right? Governor reserves the bills. Now the bills that are reserved by the Governor, there was no time limit on the President. Neither on the Governor, no time limit on the President. For Governor, the other day we saw that 3 to 1 month's time limit. 3 months in case of the bills being reserved by the Governor against the will of the Council of Ministers, against the aid and advice. You can say 3 months against the aid and advice. If the Governor decides to reserve the bills against the aid and advice of Council of Ministers. So since the power of the Governor against 1 month in case the bills are reserved as per the aid and advice of Council of Ministers. So this was there. 1 month to 3 months is the power of the Governor. Maximum time limit on the Governor has been put. Now yesterday what the Supreme Court has done is a time limit of 3 months maximum has been kept on the President also. If in case the Governor reserves the bill for the consideration of the President, President has to give reasons for any delay beyond a period of 3 months. So statement of reasons has to be given, otherwise the state governments concerned can challenge this power of the President to reserve the bill in the Supreme Court, in the High Court as well. So this law, Article 200 and Article 201 have now been refined to the effect that the President and the Governor have to decide upon the bills reserved by them within a maximum period of 3 months. And is it a case of judicial activism? Is it a case of judicial overreach? Many commentators are saying that this is a case of maybe judicial overreach. But Supreme Court has clarified that No, we are not indulging in any kind of judicial overreach here. Why? Because in the memorandum once in 2016, the Home Ministry itself had circulated a memorandum, office memorandum, and it was sent to a copy of it was sent to the office of the President as well, wherein the Home Ministry had said that the President has to decide upon the bills within 3 months. So it was an office memorandum. Judiciary says that this is not a case of judicial overreach. Why? Because judiciary is in a way reading what was defined by the Home Ministry. Rather than inventing something on its own, if judiciary is reading something out, reiterating the same point as was defined by the Ministry of Home Affairs, which had already decided this matter, that if in case the bills are reserved by the governor for the President's consideration, President has to decide upon them within 3 months. This rule was made by the Ministry in 2016. Now this rule has been further sanctified, further refined, further streamlined. We hope that its usage will now be streamlined, and it has now been, I would say, made sacrosanct. थोड़ी rigidity आ जाएगी क्योंकि judiciary ने pronounce कर दिया. पहले तो internal, earlier it was just an internal office memorandum. Now judiciary has reiterated it. Acha, why these kind of things are happening, that judiciary is now intervening in these type of matters? I always say that if you politicize the governance of the country for the reasons of competitive politics, when the union government starts deciding matters, when the governors, they start deciding matters on the political grounds, political mileage gaining grounds, the state government will not be able to pass bills, opposition ruled states will then not be able to win elections. So this is competitive politics. If competitive politics starts feeding into the governance of the country, then judicialization of the governance is happening. Then judicial activism happens. If paralysis of government happens because of these reasons, this is a case of judicial paralysis. No, I mean paralysis on the part of the governor. No, pen chal hi nahi raha. मतलब समझ रहे हो ना, जज्बात समझो यहाँ पे. If the pen of the governor is not moving for his simple signatures, then the stroke of judiciary's pen, the gavel will definitely knock at the desk, right? So that is why the legitimacy, the credibility of judiciary rises, and then happens Yashwant Verma case, sadly so. So governments need to introspect. State governments also need to introspect that they should not indulge in legislative adventurism. एडवेंचर समझते हो ना, वो काम करेंगे जो नीट के लिए होगा लेकिन क्लीन नहीं होगा. टॉकिंग अबाउट जिंगोइज्म इन तमिलनाडु. ओके, प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी, central leader, the leader of the country, very rightly said that you are talking about use of vernaculars, the local languages in the states, but your own signatures are in English, Mr. Stalin, right? And Tamil Nadu Chief Minister, Mr. Stalin, is also in a rush to, or is also trying to hog the limelight. पूरी वाहवाही बटोरने के लिए क्या करा जा रहा है? Those type of bills are being passed which ramp up the volume of jingoism, regionalism, Tamil language, etc., etc. Then talking about delimitation. So the state governments, the state legislative assembly, the ruling political party of the state should also introspect if it is indulging in legislative adventurism in the form of passage of NEET bill to opt out Tamil Nadu government, Tamil Nadu states, Tamil Nadu colleges from the NEET exam. Then central government also needs to justify, also needs to introspect that the institutions of the governance, institutions which are meant for guardianship of the constitution, like that of governor, gubernatorial position, president, they are not politicized. This over politicization of governance will lead to judicialization of governance. I hope you get the phenomena. So this is the problem here. Even though we could have read out this judgment, I could have reiterated 3 months 3 times कि 3 महीने कर दिया, 3 महीने कर दिया, but try to understand the concept behind it. हो क्या रहा है? Judiciary gains the credibility, and that is why judiciary renders itself unaccountable to anybody, including we the people of India. And then we see judge के घर पे cash जल गया. So sad, right? So this is it. Now, consistency with Article 201's aim. The court found that these existing guidelines demonstrate a time-bound action that is consistent with the purpose of Article 201. Just to repeat, expediency, okay, as soon as possible. Article 201, Article 200, they are peppered with things like the governor should, the president should sign the bill reserved for him as soon as possible. So as soon as possible doesn't mean जब मन आए तब कर लेना, ऐसा तो नहीं है ना, जब वेले होगे बिल्कुल तब कर लेना, रिटायरमेंट से पहले सोच लेना. So that means as soon as possible means there is an element of expediency. Reading this into the constitution, the Supreme Court has now inserted a time limit of 3 months. Moving to the next article, the absolute veto is not absolute now. Okay, so since time limit has been put, it is now resembling the veto power of the president in the US. It is more of a qualified veto now. So do we have qualified veto in the Constitution of India? Please answer in the comment section, guys. Okay, now moving further, extraordinary situations for the presidential intervention. Presidential intervention is meant for extraordinary situations where a state law has pan-country policy implications. एक state का law pan-country policy implications लेके आता है. NEET, if the NEET bill passed by State Legislative Assembly of Tamil Nadu exempting Tamil Nadu universities and colleges from the NEET exam score, from the NEET exam based admissions in the state universities and colleges, then other states would also start implementing or passing similar bills. So the presidential intervention is required, no doubt about it, but its usage has to be streamlined. As I said, दोनों को introspect करना होगा. State government also needs to introspect and union government also needs to introspect its own affairs. Now, both the Sarkaria Commission and Panchi Commission. Sarkaria Commission was appointed in 1980s. Sarkaria Commission on Center-State Relations, and then Panchi Commission. Okay, so Panchi Commission was appointed on the Center-State Relations in 2010. Both the commissions had suggested that there should be a time limit, a definite timeline for the disposal of bills under Article 201. Now that task has been done by the judiciary, by the Supreme Court of India. China imposes 125% tariffs on US goods. Is it that important for us? चल रहा है तो पढ़ लेते हैं, है ना? Matter is going on, evolving story it is. China says that in retaliation to the US reciprocal tariffs, China is ready for it. China is ready to fight it out. Chinese market already cannot accept US imports at current tariff levels and will ignore additional US tariffs. Already the Chinese market cannot accept such a high level of US import tariffs, isn't it? And this is going in the insane direction now. मतलब ये पगलापंती की हद हो गई कि भाई 125%, कल को तुम 250% कर दो. Tomorrow you will say it is 250%, then you will say 1000%. Already the level of tariffs is so high that Chinese market or US market cannot afford it. If a good worth 100 rupees is going to the US market from China, is being exported from China to the US, its price will be levied with 125% customs duty. Yani ki that item will be of around 225 rupees. If that is going to be the state of affairs, will anybody buy Chinese goods in the US? No. So there is no point in further increasing the tariff under the garb of this tariff war. So that is what they are saying. Now, despite the stance on ignoring further tariffs, China warns that they will take firm countermeasures if the US continues to substantially undermine their interests. Okay, China announced new tariffs of 25% on the US imports. Then China has also filed a lawsuit. अब एक चीज तो समझ में आती है कि China is bearing the brunt of it. China wants the status quo to change now. China wants a meeting with the US representative. China says that we are ready to negotiate to let's seize the pressure tactics, maximum pressure tactics. इसको छोड़ते हैं, टेबल पे मिलते हैं, बात करते हैं, है ना? Negotiations are the way to go here. So that means US ने तो नहीं कहा, US did not say that we want to negotiate. It is China who is saying this. So that means Chinese economy is bearing the brunt of tariffs being levied by Donald Trump. All right. So this is what is happening here. China's openness to talks, despite implementing additional tariffs, China states that it remains open to talks to resolve the issue. Nothing much. Our honorable minister is saying developed nations are more reliable trading partners. Taking a dig at China, he says that there are some developing countries like China which flaunt their developing country status, which say that China is still a developing country, but they are actually having a very high per capita income. So he says that despite the rhetoric that China wants to have trade with India, China wants to make investments into India, reality is something else. He says that we are not encouraging the investments from Chinese companies. The other day also, guys, we had talked about that there is a very big Chinese company which is a industrial conglomerate, automobiles, computers, IT hardware. So that company wants to make big ticket investment in India, but we do not allow such kind of investments. Okay, as of now, that company has revealed the plans. China also has said that let the elephant and dragon dance together, India being the elephant and China being the dragon. So बोलते हैं कि अब नाचते हैं ना, नाच गाना करते हैं. Why? Because नचा तो USA रहा है. Donald Trump seems to be the madari in this game, है ना, the circus master in this game, who is now saying that let's make China dance. And China says, elephant, that is India, let's dance together. Why? We don't want to dance, we want to have negotiations with the US president. India has been given certain concessions, 17% tariffs, etc. Right? So India's approach of pacifying the United States of America has served us well, whereas China's approach of retaliating the US with additional tariffs has backfired on the China. So that is why now our commerce and industry minister is saying that China is using or misusing the developing nation status. So he says that he criticized countries with higher per capita income without naming China directly, that those countries that classify themselves as developing nations stated that it causes angst. इन चीजों को सुन के गुस्सा आता है. Anybody like Donald Trump or any man of normal sanity will take an offense at it. How can China, which is having a per capita income of 45,000 rupees, etc., okay, how can that country be labeled as a developing country? Because of this only, China has been able to misuse WTO norms. China has been able to misuse its income criteria, etc. So this is also labeling itself as a developing country is also an element of trade war when we look at it from the prism of WTO, isn't it? Coming to the other news articles, this is all rhetoric going on. No need to be getting too much into it. Now, Indian EVMs are not connected to internet or Wi-Fi or infrared. So when they are not connected at all, how can the US ex-congresswomen, how can the US ex-legislator say that EVMs are subject to hacking? क्या हो रहा था कि उनके US Congress में there was a debate going on whether to have EVM type of a phenomena for elections, right? So they said that one of the congresswomen of the United States, she said that there have been evidences of EVMs in India being hacked or prone to be hacked, okay? So they are vulnerable to hacking. But in response to it, Election Commission of India as a responsible body is saying that ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. They are neither connected to EVM, the EVMs are neither connected to your internet or Wi-Fi or infrared or Bluetooth or anything. So there is no question of them being tampered. There is no question of these EVMs being prone to hacking. Okay, why? Because जब connected ही नहीं है तो hacking कहाँ से? But there is let me tell you, there is a parallel petition going on in the Supreme Court where the Supreme Court had asked Election Commission of India that what is microcontroller? Is the microcontroller installed in the control unit or VVPAT? Then, is the microcontroller one-time programmable or can it be programmed again? So these microcontrollers, etc., this is the technical terminology with regard to EVMs. Already the questions, the doubts are being raised and are sought to be addressed in the highest court of the land, that is the Supreme Court of India. Now, regarding the symbol loading unit, how many units are available? Are the EVMs, VVPAT and controller units stored together or are they stored separately? So there are some doubts about EVMs and their credibility, right? Not only in India. Now, the US senator, US legislator, ex-legislator, she had raised questions about this same kind of technology, EVM kind of technology being replicated in the US elections. So US as of now has tried everything. They have also tried Aadhaar based national security system, Aadhaar based biometric identification, but later on they abolished it, right? Then they also tried EVM kind of a phenomena in the past, but because of its vulnerability to hacking, because of its vulnerability to misuse and rigging of elections, it has been abolished there. Now whenever there is a talk about EVMs kind of a technology being re-implemented or reintroduced in the US elections, they take a dig at other countries or they cast aspersions on it. This time they have used the example of India, that one of the US cabinet ministers, they had found the evidence of EVMs being vulnerable to hackers and exploitation for a long time, potentially manipulating the election results. They say that is why EVMs should not be introduced in the United States of America elections. Okay, देखो अब यहाँ पे हो क्या रहा है ना, बच्चे खिलौनों से खेल खेल कर बड़े हो जाते हैं ना, वही डायलॉग सुना है ना मूवी का, सेम काइंड ऑफ अ थिंग इज गोइंग ऑन हियर. What they have tried, what the Western world has tried already, the social security number similar to India's Aadhaar number. Then they have tried EVM kind of a phenomena, they abolished it. They are back to paper ballots. In India, we are toying with these ideas, we are getting VVPAT, etc., spending a lot of money, but ultimately we are vulnerable to technology being misused for electoral advantages, etc. So the call is, I mean, you can have your own opinion. It's just that, I mean, vulnerability is there. Time and again it has been highlighted. Now, risk of hacking by humans or AI. Now, with the advent of AI, the risks are even more. हमें क्या पता माइक्रो कंट्रोलर से वाईफाई से कनेक्ट हो जाए कि नहीं. Nobody knows about it. No, ये तो हम तो जाते हैं बटन दबा के आ जाते हैं. That's it. So, as a citizens, the Supreme Court is asking for the transparency in the governance or in the working of the Election Commission of India. Supreme Court has asked about these questions. So I ask you these questions. What are microcontrollers? Okay, so this technology we had dealt with in the previous sessions of our news analysis. Today we won't cover it. Let's talk about the other issue that is going on, Anup Barnwal case with regard to Election Commission. What happened in the Anup Barnwal case? How can the members of Election Commission of India be predominantly appointed by the executive, okay, union government? As we see that in the committee appointing the Election Commission of India, there was only the Prime Minister, Union Cabinet and Leader of Opposition. So there are 3 votes. Out of 3 votes, the 2 votes are of the Union Executive, Prime Minister and Cabinet Minister. Leader of Opposition is the lone voice, is the lonely voice in the committee. So 2:1 voted upon, and who becomes the Election Commission? Election Commissioner कौन बनेगा? Whosoever the union government wants. Now this election commissioner is going to conduct elections in a fair and transparent manner. This is just a related issue. EVM तो हैक होंगी नहीं होंगी, लेकिन इलेक्शन कमीशन हैक हो चुका है. मतलब समझ रहे हो ना? Supreme Court had given a judgment in the Anup Barnwal case that the members of election commission, the chief election commissioner and other 2 election commissioners should be appointed by a committee formed by selection committee having the membership of Prime Minister, Leader of Opposition, then Cabinet Minister and CJI. But the CJI has been deleted. So this is the state of affairs as of now. Before this, who used to appoint? The union government used to appoint. Okay, election commission members were appointed directly by the union government. Now there is a case going on in the Supreme Court that how can CAG, who audits the accounts of the government of India, can be unilaterally appointed by the government of India only. CAG हमारे जो central जो comptroller and auditor general हैं, he is central auditor general, not comptroller. Okay, central here means because he is being appointed by the central government. Acha, I have a problem with the name of the Central Election Commission as well. Okay, you see the name of UPSC's Union Public Service Commission, because it conducts the exam for both the union and the state level, for the center and the state level. But here you see Central Election Commission. Okay, so it means that central, that means is it going to conduct elections only for the central government level? No, it is conducting elections for the Union of India, isn't it? For the center and the states as well. So change in nomenclature should be there, but more importantly is the change in the nature of working should be there. be it of EVMs or of the Central Election Commission itself. दोनों हैक हो चुके हैं, मतलब एक तो हैक हो ही चुका है, टेक्नोलॉजी वाला बचा है अभी, है ना. Packing Election Commission with its own choice of retired IAS officers speaks volumes about the transparency of in the functioning of the Election Commission. It's not about the allegations here. I'm not leveling any allegations. The point is, development or transparency, in order to be perceived well, it should be done well. Transparency pehle lao to sahi. If the members are appointed by a committee dominated by the executive, how can we feel confident about its the transparency, about its independence, about its fairness? Moving further. Now here it has come in the Indian Express, Panchayat Advancement Index. How the new Panchayat Advancement Index ranks the Panchayati Raj bodies. What is it? Panchayat Advancement Index is about linking the Panchayat's functioning with the Sustainable Development Goals. There are so many parameters, 144 parameters that have been linked with it. Let's have a look at these 9 parameters. But before that, before we all get confused, there was another index which is called as Panchayat Devolution Index. How much of the power is being devolved by the central government, by the state governments to the local bodies. Okay, I'm writing here PRIs only. So this level is called federalism. Okay, state level, etc. This level is called sub-federal level. So at the sub-federal level, funds, functions, functionaries are not there. Okay, the powers to appoint functionaries, the power to give functions is with the state level. So that is why Panchayati Raj bodies are not able to evolve as autonomous functioning units. Okay, this has been the conventional wisdom about Panchayati Raj bodies. Okay, so this is Panchayat Devolution Index. So how much, whether framework law is there or not, whether functions have been given to them or not, whether independent sources of finance have been given to Panchayati Raj bodies or not. Then functionaries, assessed the strength and the performance of Panchayat officials and infrastructure available to them. Capacity building, how the knowledge and skills of Panchayat officials were being expanded to fulfill and take on more responsibilities. Okay, capacity building, training, etc. So those things are there. But today we are going to talk about Panchayat Advancement Index. So according to the Ministry of Panchayati Raj, so who developed it? Ministry of Panchayati Raj. Okay, then it is a I ask you a question here. Which ministry developed Panchayat Devolution Index? Okay, MORD, MOPR, MOSPI. Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, Ministry of Rural Development or Ministry of Panchayati Raj. Simple सा question है, answer कर देना, ठीक है? Now, it is a multi-dimensional index used to assess the implementation of localization of sustainable development goals across 9 broad themes. What are these broad themes? Let's have a look. Water sufficient village, number 1. Number 2, women friendly village. Village with good governance, theme number 3. Okay, 4, clean and green water. 5, poverty free village, गरीबी मुक्त जो ग्राम होना चाहिए, ठीक है. Then socially secured village. Socially secured means they all should have coverage under Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. They all should be having provident fund, etc., etc. Okay, then village with self-sufficient infrastructure. So infrastructure being created under Manrega, Sansad Adarsh Gram Yojana, etc. should be self-sufficient. They should have their own ponds, waste treatment plants, etc. Dreams. Now, healthy village. That means Jan Arogya Mandir, etc. should be there. Morbidity levels, the incidence of people falling ill should be less. All those things. Child-friendly village. Okay, protection of children should be there. Child care institutions, etc. should be there. So these things are there. इसमें disability missing है, देख लेना. The theme disability is conspicuous by its absence. So this is a linkage through these 9 themes. This Panchayat Advancement Index has been linked with Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. Sustainable Development Goals. Okay. Now, Panchayat Advancement Index was launched, ranking over 2.16 lakh panchayats based on their performance and progress towards achieving sustainable development goals. So these things are happening. Now, These are the poverty-free and enhanced livelihoods in Panchayat, healthy Panchayat, child-friendly Panchayat. We have already seen them. The PAI uses 435 unique local indicators, 331 mandatory and 104 indicators to rank the Panchayati Raj bodies. Okay, to rank the Panchayati Raj bodies. Now, consisting of 566 unique data points across the 9 themes that we have seen, child-friendly village, etc. And the states are, the Panchayati Raj bodies are divided into 5 categories: achiever, front-runner, performer, aspirant, beginner. Okay, abhi ek cheez dekhoge, in the governance, we have stopped using the terminology like Bimaru states, hai na? Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, the negative terminology, poor, etc., poor, okay, least developed village, that kind of a terminology we have stopped using in the governance, because that discourages our people who are working at the ground level, panchayat secretary, sarpanch, etc. So we just use the benevolent words: beginner, okay, aspirant, UPSC aspirant. हम कभी ये बोलते हैं कि prelims failure? No. Do we ever label ourselves as prelims failure? He's failed in prelims, he's second timer, third timer? No. We only say अभी तो aspirant हूँ. यही करते हो ना? So performer. Okay, so somebody, some village which is at the middle level is labeled as performer, front runner, achiever, etc. So this is what motivates, and this is what is something, this is the approach which is not looking down upon our own work. The work that a Panchayati Raj institution has been doing or has done, it is not looked down upon with this kind of a terminology. Okay, likewise we stopped labeling our employees as C class employee, D class employee. We name as group A, B, C, D. Fifth Pay Commission said that. So this positive terminology has to be used across various parameters of various elements of governance. Okay, so small things are there. Now, to assess the progress at the grassroots level, the Panchayat Advancement Index serves as the key metric to evaluate how well individual panchayats are progressing towards achieving sustainable development goals. Okay, to help in formulating localized strategies and targets. Ab dekho, I had told you in the beginning that we are going to deal something interesting. So what happens here is the matters sustainable development goals. Okay, they are being decided globally, WTO. Norms are being decided globally as to how much subsidies are going to be given to the farmers. How much subsidy are we going to give to the farmers? But these norms are implemented locally. Sometimes they are good in green, sometimes they are not good, so they are in red. Versus situation ho jati hai. Okay, so sometimes local communities, Panchayati Raj institutions are under the pressure to implement global norms which may not be well suited considering the ground realities. Alright, so this is the problem that we have developed, even though we have developed Panchayat Advancement Index to link it with sustainable development goals. But these sustainable development goals, all of them may not be in sync with the requirement of a particular panchayat, the requirement of a particular village. Okay, so this was one of the aspects as a logical extension of sustainable development goals, etc. All these things are there. You can read them on your own. Nothing much, no rocket science. So this was all in today's news analysis, guys. Like this, whatever important news articles will be there, we'll be incorporating them. As I said, today I'm at my hometown. I had to come here for 2 days for some important work. We'll be heading back by tomorrow. Monday onwards, we will be incorporating editorials also. Okay, so sometimes some travel arrangements are there, because of which may not be able to appear on time. Okay, exact at 8 AM. So that is why please accommodate for some of the days. Now from Monday onwards, we will be hitting the stream. We will be coming live at 8 AM sharp. Okay, until then, thank you, bye bye, keep watching. Then cover the MCQs, whatever small little questions that I have asked you, answer those questions also. For the PDF, you can visit the Telegram channel. The link of the Telegram channel is given in the description box of this video. With this, I end the video for today. I end the session for today. Thank you, bye bye guys, have a great day, enjoy your weekend guys. Thank you, bye bye.